All right, this week on Prof and Dev Play Games, we are tackling our 25 favorite video games, starting with the bottom, 21 to 25 tonight. Stay tuned. All right, my friends, welcome to episode 465 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky. Over there is Anthony, the dev at Summer Speak. How are you?
I am doing well. It's been a pretty relaxed weekend overall, except for I made the choice I had to go do all my errands and shopping yesterday. I would not recommend shopping and doing stuff the day before the Super Bowl.
No, man. No, terrible.
Oh, it was a lot, but I got it done. Because I didn't want to wait until late today to do it. So,
no, of course, I did it today during the Super Bowl. I just went to Costco during the Super Bowl.
And good plan.
It was not. I was looking forward to it being just like me there, and no, there were a ton of people there. I was like, oh, okay, none of us give a fuck about this thing. Okay,
yeah, pretty much.
There were quite a few, less than normal, but there were still many, many, many more than I thought there'd be.
A lot of people that just don't care about the Super Bowl. So
no, and if I'm a person who doesn't normally care. I cared last year because the 49ers were in it, so I watched the Super Bowl last year. But otherwise, I don't care. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I was hoping the Chiefs would lose, and goddamn, they got stomped. It was great.
Yep.
Kendrick Lamar had a good halftime show, and there's a photo somewhere of someone in the stands flipping off the president when he came on the field or whatever. So,
that's hilarious. Well done.
My wife was like, "You're gonna love this photo." It's like, oh my god. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't see that part though. Missed his appearance there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
This is why I don't want to watch it that much. But yeah,
I'm not a big fan of traders. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday was a lot busier out at Costco and Trader Joe's and Target and all the places I need to go. But I did get to stop by my local game shop. There was a new Magic set, but I got to pick up my D&D Monster Manual, the new Monster Manual.
Oh, cool. It's out.
Yeah, the 2024-2025 Monster Manual. So now I have the trifecta of the latest edition of D&D. All the books are out. So that was fun. But then, of course, there's a new Magic set, so why not pick up a few packs of things?
Yeah, I got a commander deck for that today. Looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah.
It's got some interesting mechanics. It's got this speed driving racing kind of mechanic.
Oh yeah, the whole set has, what is it? Start your engines is the set mechanic. It's fun. I don't think it will probably be in any other sets for a long time, but
right.
It seems neat. There seems to be a lot of payoff for it. I think people pre-thought it was going to be like, oh, this is really slow and how it builds, but not really. The payoffs on a number of things are very worth it, so
that's cool.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I sent a picture to my neighbor. I was like, got the commander deck. He's like, we're going to play one-on-one eventually. Let's get together. So looking forward to that. And my daughter and I played a bunch of Magic today and had a lot of fun.
Nice.
We played more Bloomborough today, and then a little bit of Assassin's Creed. And the Bloomborough really has some neat mechanics. And the more that you play it, the more I realized, wow, these cards are just breeding. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of cards. I see what's happening now.
You're like, oh, there's a rabbit theme in oh, right.
There's a lot of them. I see what's happening.
Yep.
It's pretty good. I saw a date. I don't know if this is real or not. Maybe June is when Final Fantasy comes out.
Yeah, yeah, they've dated it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. June 16th.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Something like that.
And I think that's the official release date. So pre-release will be a week earlier than that, and then we'll have all like the pre-release tournaments and everything for it, because it's going to be a big set. That's going to have collector boosters, normal boosters, a starter set, at least 4 commander decks, at least one type of bundle, probably 2 types of bundle, like a normal bundle and a premium bundle.
And are the bundles just like boosters, or what is?
Yeah, they're boosters. They usually come with a promo card, a die, and then like a pack of like full art lands, like 5
Oh,
of
beautiful.
every
Yeah.
type of land, and then full art, and then like they've done a couple now, these premium bundles that cost more, and it's they mix in some collector booster packs into it, and then give you some more promos, and then they foil for full art lands.
That's cool.
So I assume they're going to have that, and they'll have the starter decks, and then if it's like Lord of the Rings, they also had a bunch of other like one-off special things as well. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Because everything I hear is just that there's an insane amount of demand for this set, Final Fantasy.
I hope they make. I hope they make enough.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make. I'm sure they're gonna make a ton. They know it's gonna probably be their biggest set. I was wrong. The date is June 13th. So
Okay.
pre-release stuff will start like June 6th.
That's cool.
God, I can't wait. I don't even know how. The thing is, I just don't know how they're gonna fit all the games into a set.
Right, because there's so much to dig into. You could do a whole set based on Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, easily.
So
yeah, and I mean they've already previewed card art of like 7 characters: Sephiroth and Cloud. They've done a Lightning preview. Emmett Selk from Final Fantasy 14. Titus and Yuna from 10. They previewed. Kefka from 6 was already previewed. So I'm like, okay, they're doing it, but I'm like, is this going to be like a 500 card set? It's going to be so many cards.
It's like, this is not going to happen, but like, this is a set that I would like to get as many cards as possible from.
Yeah, and some of them are going to be way too expensive to deal with.
Yeah.
Because they'll do alternate arts and variants and like even the Aether Drift that just came out, I think some of the alternate variants are going for like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's right.
There's some of them are. You're just like, yeah, it's a really cool look. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need. Let's see if I can just collect one of everything in normal, non-special. I think I could deal with that, and then
for
just
Final Fantasy.
Special. Yeah, for Final Fantasy, and then
just
do a few couple special ones that I like.
That's how I feel too, because I want to play with them, and if I had like the really special cards, I'd be like, I can't play with this. Like I want to
just sleeve them up nicely. It'll be fine.
I sleeve everything. So
there you go. They should survive. But yeah, So I'm really enjoying actually this year and everything since the end of last year, just kind of collecting magic again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a nice feeling. I don't know why.
I totally agree. Like getting back into it, toward the end of last year, probably around the same time you did, but introducing it to my daughter and her getting it, I still don't understand how this 7-year-old gets this game. And just playing with her has been so fun, and I'm so back into it. And it's just nice that she's so excited about it too. And Final Fantasy.
I'm gonna try to convince my daughter to play if I make her a cat deck.
My daughter has one today. We went to the store, right, to go look at Aether Drift and see what else there was, but they had a beginner's box that had like a bunch.
Yep.
You've seen that? So the cat deck is minor, but when we played with our neighbors the other day, they had built a full cat deck. It's like a 60 card cat deck, and my daughter was just in love with it. So they asked me like, when's her birthday? I'm like, that's not soon. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're gonna play with them next weekend.
Nice.
So stay tuned for our spin-off podcast, Magic the Gathering.
No. I don't know if I want to step into that.
No way. But we are here to talk about our favorite video games. We limited ourselves to the top 25, and we are specifically calling out our favorites and not the best, because those are two different lists. So we are going to tackle this over a number of podcasts. We're going to deal with the bottom of the list from number 25 up through number 21, so 5 each. We'll talk about why they are our favorite games. But before we get there, we're going to list a couple of honorable mentions, games that were probably on the list and kind of on the bubble and eventually just didn't make the list. And just give a quick shout out to these games because they mean something to us, but we won't dig too deeply into them. For the honorable mentions, I'll do my 5. I have 5 that I want to read, and then I'll toss to you however many you want to do. But then when we get to the 21 through 25, we'll just do one each back and forth. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for honorable mentions for me, all of these were on the list and eventually fell off the list. But first one is Mega Man 3. Had such a great time with that as a kid. And then there's Journey. Loved finding out that I wasn't alone in my journey there. The next one I'm surprised is not on my top 25. It's Chrono Trigger, just on the bubble. What a great RPG. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, just playing with friends and with my brother and my cousin as a kid. That was such an amazing experience. And the last one is Celeste. Celeste is such a wonderful platformer, and I had such a good time with it. I think if I had replayed the game, it might make the list, but I've never replayed it. So I've just had the memories of it. So those are my honorable mentions. Not quite on the list.
I won't do my 21 honorable mentions here.
No, Jesus Christ.
That's where the line broke, and I was like, well, there's some really good games that got cut off here. I'll just do some highlights here. The only fighting game got cut is just right at the line and got cut off was Guilty Gear XX. And just a huge amount of memories playing that game through really senior year of college and the first year or two post college. That was just, never got really into fighting games, but that one I did, and I tried to become very technical at playing that one. And I'd play it with my coworkers, I'd play it with my college friends, and we would just wreck each other in this game, and I loved it.
I feel like I played that one with you once when I was up in a long time ago.
Yeah, it would have been a long time ago. That one's perfect. I should play Strive, honestly, at some point. ActRaiser, love that as a kid growing up, and I have actually replayed it on ROMs at different times. Replayed it on the SNES Classic. Whenever I Hachi replaced the ROM on it, so I could put the BIOS on it, so I could put other games on it. I put ActRaiser on it. It didn't already come with ActRaiser. I can't remember. But either way, I played it on that, and I remembered how much I enjoyed that game. Surprised this one didn't make the list. Horizon Zero Dawn. It's there. It's just close, but there's a lot of other games above it. But I just remember having a great time on Horizon. Golden Sun. Well, I got a GBA. Played the shit out of Golden Sun and my imported GBA.
Nice.
Portal didn't make the top 25. Great experience, though. Titanfall 2.
Oh, that was close.
It was very close to me. I was like, and BioShock didn't make it either.
Wow, that's surprising.
It's close, just didn't make it up there. A lot of the stuff that didn't make the list, I'm just like, man, this is a lot of PlayStation stuff that I used to love and still love. World of Warcraft did not make it. Love that game. Spent 6 years of my life in that game, but not in the top 25. I could keep going. There's a lot, but those
you're gonna start telling me what's obvious. A lot of these, I'm like, well, it's not on your list. What the hell is on your list?
Yeah, you said favorites, and I'm like, okay, if I did best, some of these would swap around pretty well. A newer one that is not on this list, Elden Ring. It's below the 25. It just, if I put best, Elden Ring would be on the top 25. Favorite? No.
The darkness is too much.
I'm not going back. You can't make me. I beat it. It's cool. I'm done.
Imagine if they did a game like that, but it was like very happy and cheery. Like that would be one of the best games ever made. Yeah.
And really, and it doesn't even have to be in cheery completely. I'm okay if it being like having a darkness to it, and then also having some levity here and there, and like ups and downs. Because Elden Ring does not have ups.
No, it just has downs.
It's just downs. But so there's a number of things there. But I think I got a good list here. I'm happy enough with it. I'll say that.
Yeah. Me too. I'm happy with mine. Why don't you start us off with your 25?
All right. So this is one that surprised me, because when I made the cut, I just counted down 25 and then put the cut. And I played this with you, and I have incredible fond memories of it. To the Moon.
Oh, hell yes.
And I think it is probably it is, I would say it's above all those other games. It has stuck with me since then. Like, do I need to replay it? No, but it is an incredible experience. For being such a simple presentation of just pixel art, the whole thing, it told an incredibly emotional impactful story. I was very happy to play that game.
Yeah, that story resonated so much, and I think it was an RPG Maker game, right?
It was.
Yeah, and whatever tools you use to make a game, but it is surprising how it sprung out of that's kind of a hobby sort of engine or whatever. But it was such good writing and a really smart
Yeah.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great choice. What a great way to start. I think my number 25 is in a similar vein. My number 25 is also part of kind of a cheat. So we'll see how this goes. I couldn't choose which one, and I've put a wrapper that combines them all together now. So Jackbox Party Pack is my number 25.
Oh, that's fine.
And it's number 20. It's on this list because of how many times it's brought me and friends and colleagues together. Before the pandemic, just having house parties and just playing the shit out of this and just laughing hysterically for hours and hours and hours. Drawing the worst things in Drawful or telling lies to get other people to pick them in Fibbage. And then through the pandemic, obviously, that became a big thing for me and my colleagues to stay together. And even now, we played probably 3 weeks ago. Just wanted a game night when we were all feeling pretty down about the election and trying to come together and with some frivolity. And it's always a little dicey with colleagues because with friends, it's like super raunchy. And with colleagues, I cannot do that. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But also I don't feel comfortable doing that. And no one else in my colleague group cares, but I do. And I'm like, man, when I play with my friends, I'm very different. They're like, play it like that with us. I was like, nope. I'm in leadership. I'm not going to do that. But it's just the togetherness. Video games are the best when you share them with people. Later through this list, we're going to see a number of games that I've shared with my daughter, and they are on this list because of that memory makes it a favorite of mine, or friends or brother or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like with To the Moon, where we did that for our video game book club, and what a great experience. And
that's probably one of the best one that we did. I'll be honest.
Oh, I think that was the best one we did. I mean, Doki Doki wasn't the best. It was interesting, but it wasn't.
Doki Doki was pretty cool. It's on it did not make the bubble. But Doki Doki is on my list down below because it was a cool experience.
It was a very cool experience, but To the Moon was absolutely number one with the bullet.
But I completely understand Jackbox. I tend to not play a lot of those type of games. Like my colleagues and friend groups don't really play that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we play games together, it's Monster Hunter or
oh yeah.
It's a different type of game.
Yeah, my friends almost to a person
would not play that crap.
Yeah, none of my friends play video games.
Colleagues,
so friends,
no, perfect.
It's it's party stuff. Yeah, and it's amazing. None of them, nobody who I play Jackbox with would say that they play video games, even though we are playing one right now.
Sure.
Except for Brad. Brad played with us, and obviously he played video games. So yes, my number 25.
So my 24, and this will be interesting, and I'm sure you'll be like, what? And this is the first of a series on this list that there's many more of. But 24 is Final Fantasy VII. And I don't know, you can take that as the new ones, or if it's the original, it's a lot now. Is yours 24?
My number 24 is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, that's hilarious.
How the fuck did we do that?
I don't know.
And I was like, do I put Final Fantasy VII or do I put Remake? I'm like, okay, I'm going to go with Remake.
Well, for you, I can understand Remake being the thing more than anything. Like, in my head, it's hard for me to separate the Remake Rebirth from the original even. It's like one giant continuous blob of Final Fantasy VII. Almost bursting at the seams, I'll be honest.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But favorite, it is a game I've come back to. I've only actually probably played through 7 itself completely twice ever because it's long and I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, it's very long.
But I have played the Rebirth and Remake and Rebirth, and that's been great. But in a lot of ways, it wasn't my first Final Fantasy, but it is the first Final Fantasy I ever really dived into. I had rented 6 from Figuritos
Oh yeah.
back in middle school and kind of started understanding, but I mean, you're renting it, so it's not a lot that you're getting through, but I got through like probably a good 10, 15 hours over a weekend of 6 and was like, oh, these games are kind of cool, but I never ended up buying it. Earthbound was where I went to with like my first, what I would say, big JRPG. But 7 was the one where I'm like, okay, I kind of got hyped for it, probably by some marketing back in like 95. It came out on PlayStation. I rented a PlayStation and Final Fantasy. Now, me being a dumb high schooler at the time, you have to realize you can't save without a memory card.
No.
I did not have one of those. So I started playing, and then the PlayStation never went off that entire weekend. I made it
Right,
all
you
the
just
way
like
through Midgard to the open world.
you left it on
And
overnight, kind of thing.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, do not touch this, anyone.
Mhm.
But I made it. I without a save made it through the entire Midgard section.
That's awesome.
Got to the open world and then I had to return it. I then went out and bought the game and had the game like 3 months before I ever had a PlayStation.
Oh wow.
And a memory card, so I could rent the PlayStation every once in a while again and actually make progress. I had to redo the entire Midgard section again. But that's just like favorites. It opened my eyes to a different type of game at that point. What games kind of could be and how they could tell stories. It was pushing, let's say, weird now graphics forward with its pre-rendered backgrounds. Its cutscenes especially was like, oh, these are cool, even though they had like very little audio in them.
Right.
I now watch them now. I'm like, oh, they don't really have a bunch of sound effects in these cutscenes.
Got that cannon shooting from Junon.
Yeah, just a little bit here and there, but it's pretty quiet overall. It's a lot just the music going more than anything. They don't do like voices for the characters; they're not talking. But it has like that series has stuck with me overall these years. That's why I come back to trying remake and rebirth and still loving these characters and getting to experience things with them. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it is what I would put a little asterisk on my first Final Fantasy that in a lot of ways. So it kind of always keeps that spot for me.
Awesome. I am surprised to see it that low on your list, but I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, my number 24 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because I've played it so recently, right? I played it basically a year ago is when I played it the first time, or the only time. But it made such a huge impression on me and opened up Final Fantasy for me, because 15 was the only one I'd played before that. And then playing that, I finally got it. And then throughout the year, obviously, we've talked about on the podcast, I played a bunch of other Final Fantasies, and I'm playing 2 right now. Final Fantasy 2 right now. And it opened up RPGs or JRPGs for me, like you said, but I was 42 when it happened and you were like 16. I really finally got it. I got why people loved this series, the series, because of like and going back through 12, 1, 2, even a little bit of 16, but more of the older ones, and seeing it's almost cozy. And like, the sequence you go through of learning spells and using potions and antidotes and leveling up your characters, like it's just so nice. But all of that in Remake kind of put into the action format where you could pull open the menu and kind of do menu driven stuff, but really it's a lot more action focused. And then the characters, I love all of them. Like I even like Kate Sith a lot. And that's weird. And that's because of Rebirth more than Remake, obviously, because Kate Sith is not there in Remake.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with Tifa, like tremendously. And the whole story of getting out of Midgar and how much they dressed everything up for Remake, and then going back to Final Fantasy VII and playing a lot more of that and really appreciating like how much story there really was in that old game. I don't know. It's just, I a couple podcasts ago, I talked about how I was sort of stuck and wasn't sure what I wanted to play. And you kind of suggested try 9, which was great. I'm playing 9, but I keep wanting to play 7 Remake again. And I'm like, don't play something new, play something different. But I don't think I'm going to get out of this year without playing Remake again because of
Yeah.
how much I loved it.
Play it on the PC, Steam Deck, or something.
Ooh, you know what? I'm holding out for Switch 2.
Yeah,
I want to see the Switch 2, how it compares to the Steam Deck, and then see if they're actually going to put it on there. Because if they do, I probably will.
I feel like they will.
I would love to get a physical version.
Yeah.
I have a physical version for PS4, but I'd love a Switch version if it plays well and such. So if it hits Switch 2, I will play it on Switch 2 this year. That'd be sweet, just handheld.
Yeah.
I wonder how well it plays on Steam Deck. I don't know.
I bet it would be the Remake integrate version.
Yeah, right.
Which is freaking rare. A physical copy of that. They just did another print.
They just did a reprinting of it, but yeah, it was like
it's still sold out everywhere.
Oh, damn.
Or it did for a bit. Maybe it's back. But yeah, my next two are actually more indie things. So 23 on my list is Slay the Spire.
Nice.
Favorite, mostly from the gameplay. I like card games a lot, and deck builders, and this, in some ways, probably spawned all the deck builder roguelites that we're seeing over the years. But this still stands to me as my favorite. The mechanics are fairly straightforward. They're easy to understand and incredibly hard to master. But you always feel like you're mastering it as you're playing. And I think I've played it on the Switch mostly, and then some on Game Pass when I had that. But mostly Switch, and I put in hundreds of hours in Slay the Spire.
Damn.
Yeah, really. Balatro is one thing, like that's great with the Jokers and thing. I enjoyed that, but Slay the Spire is the one I would just always go back to if I just want like a deck building game. There's just so much variety in it that I just love getting lost into like the minutia of the deck building and the different builds you can make. And when it breaks, it's hilarious and you are so strong. But yeah, it kind of, when did that come out? I was playing it in 2016, 2015, 2016, because it was in early access for a long time. And I want to say I was playing it when it close to the end of that, or when it came out, or whenever it came to Game Pass, which I don't think it was completely out then. But either way, I have a lot of fond memories playing this on like commuting and just general killing time. I'll just do a run of Slay the Spire. It's probably inspired my design more than I want to believe. Design sins.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of why it stays as a favorite, is like some of these are just things that I'm like, yeah, they're favorites because I come back to them over and over as like reference points on when I'm thinking of design and things that ideas and how to approach problems in things that I'm making. I just kind of come back, and this is one I always come back to and I always enjoy. Just really love this one. Went down a pretty deep rabbit hole with coworker about like we'd go probably every other day just discussing strategies and Slay the Spire for months. It was hilarious. So yeah, it was unexpected that one bubbled up to the top, but as I was just stacking, I'm like, yep, it's going up the list. Just keeps going.
Keeps climbing.
Keeps climbing because it is just a favorite. It's like it is. This one and the next one are very much comfort food. I will say that for me. Of very different games, but very much. If I just want a thing to chill, I'll play something like this. So
it has a really good loop.
It does.
Doesn't take too long, and then you're like, I could do another one.
Yeah,
and
another one,
I'm here
and another one.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably put like 5 hours into that game. It's definitely well made.
Yeah.
All right, for me, jumping to a new system, this is a game that I played, God, probably 2014 maybe. Fire Emblem Awakening.
Mm.
On the 3DS. This was the one, right? This is the one that, for a lot of people that jumped into Fire Emblem, this is the one that woke them up to the series. And I think this is the first game that I really realized that I liked those kind of tactics games, like this, the strategy, the maps where you're trying to like position your players in the best way to take out the enemy. I haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics, so I don't know if it's comparable, but you got the grid-based
Yeah.
system and trying to get your characters not only to get in good position to attack the enemy, but they also kind of they build affinity by being together, and they eventually get into a relationship, and then just having the different ways that you can level up certain characters. I don't know if it was Awakening or a different one where like, I think it was Awakening, where there's just some like random farmhand that you run into that's like super weak. But if you stick with that guy and you level him up, he becomes like like one of the strongest characters in the entire game. So that the strategy, the tactics, mixed in with the story, and the relationship building, on the field. I think Three Houses later did a bunch of relationship building in the monastery and such, but
Mm-hmm.
having this on the field and just kind of like going from map to map to map and continue, like there's so many maps, and digging the story out. I love, this was my first Fire Emblem, and this is the game that turned me on to this, not just the series. I love Fire Emblem now, but this genre, right? I end up branching off into Into the Breach, which is different but fun, in a similar vein, I guess. The one I'm playing right now, Tactical Breach Wizards, which
Yeah.
is also different but still tactical. And like, again, you have to play it this year
Okay.
at some point. It's fucking awesome and hilarious. And yeah, I don't know. It's not. It was not a kind of game that I played at that time in my life. I played either first person shooter or I played platformers. And this one I was like, oh, people are talking about this. I want to play something on this new 3DS I just picked up, and it was a banger.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, I love it.
Three Houses was under my in my back chunk of games. Because I played a bit of Awakening. It never stuck with me too much, but Three Houses I played so much of the whole way through. I fell in love with Three Houses. And my mind is like, I want Engage, but with a better story.
Oh my god, if Engage had a better
That's all
story,
I
it would
need.
probably be on this list.
That's really what it comes down to. I'm just like, Engage has the gameplay and like strategy mechanics going like done so well.
Mm-hmm.
If you just could attach that to like an incredibly deep like, it's not the school thing of Three Houses I care about. It's mostly more of like, it's just a very well built upon like relationship manager at that point, like social link thing from a Persona game slapped on. I'm like, just combine these two and you'll make, for me, the perfect Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that's the next one they're going to make. Maybe that's a Switch 2 game. Who knows?
That would be great. That would be.
I think we're a little bit away from another Fire Emblem, but
I think we're closer than that because we're gonna get the remake of the genealogy war.
Oh, right.
There's too many rumors for that one not to be true.
Yeah. But those are remakes. I'm like, give me a new one.
Exactly.
My number 22 is Stardew Valley. This is probably my ultimate cozy game. Started mini a farm, and it's just been fun. As over the years and more content has been added to it, it always gives me a reason to go back and play again. I'm getting like the itch to play it again with the latest patch that came out.
Right, 1.6.
Added a bunch of new stuff in it. I can have it on. I can play it Steam Deck. I can play it on Switch. But it's also been fun watching everyone in my household just fall in love with this game. All of them have played it. All of them have played deep into this game. Uh, it's funny watching my wife play it, and she has her notebook
Oh, that's
just
awesome.
for this game, and she's like writing down all the crops she's getting, and like
Mhm.
I like it's hilarious and great. And so it's just been fun watching that through my house. It is it's kind of funny that it started as a game that was like, man, no one's making basically Harvest Moons anymore, and Harvest Moon isn't even being really much Harvest Moon anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just gonna make it, and the student made it, and at this
All
point
by
I'm like,
himself.
all by himself, and at this point I'm just like, yeah, this is better than any Harvest Moon that's come out, and really better than almost any cozy game that's come out since. Like the amount of content and things you can do in this game is incredible. It meets a player wherever they want to be. It can be chill. It can be intense. You can take it slow. You can take it fast. Ton of fun. And it is one that has come out and I'd go back to probably once a year. Just even if I don't play like super long into it, like I'll start a farm. Why not? Because it feels fun. I'll romance a new person, get all their little cutscenes, go to the new island, Ginger Island, that has a bunch of stuff to do there. I don't remember what 1.6 adds into the game. More, because there's always
Yeah,
this is like more. Okay, there's more
exactly.
to do. So I think this is one why it's a favorite for mine is coming back like that, and I don't see a time when I'm not going to come back to it. Even if this like 1.6 came out and like that is it, I'm like there's content here for me to just come back to this occasionally, forever. And it's rare they have games that are just like, yeah, you can just, this will always be here, something you come back to and just have that cozy feeling of like, I just want to go live my rural life in a farm in a nice, pleasant place. So.
Very cool. I keep dabbling in that game. I would love to get past the point where it hooks me. I always think of it as a game that would be interesting for my wife to try, but I think it's just too complex. Even though it's not that complex, but
it can. I mean, there's complexity there, definitely under the surface.
Her game is Suika. Suika is her favorite game.
Okay.
So, puzzle games are her jam. For me, number 22 is a surprise. This is I did the same thing you did. Just kind of comparing games to each other and see what rose up. This Uncharted 2. Uncharted.
That
2
was in my back. That was in my lower half.
so it's fantastic. This is the game. I started off Uncharted 1 and I was like, this sucks. Like I got like 6 or 7 hours in. I was like, I'm just like, it's a shooting gallery. This sucks. But I will keep trying. And I know people, I think I had the trilogy or whatever it was. People kept talking about Uncharted 2. And this is the one where I texted you or it was on Discord. I can't remember what, where I was just like, these set pieces are incredible. I think that was the one with like the rooftop and the helicopter.
Yep.
That just like sticks in my head.
Run down alleys.
Yeah.
With the truck behind it, and you're like, in most games, this would be a cutscene. And they're letting me actually like,
I'm playing it.
Feel like I'm running and playing and like shooting. Yeah.
So it's just the action, just the way that this was created was like a summer blockbuster that I was playing, and it blew my mind for that fact. It was just like, it's not a type of genre or a game that I particularly care about. But it was well written, had interesting characters, and just nonstop action where like, you just, if it were a book, it would be a page turner. And it was that, just the summer popcorn page turner. It's not a genre that I would, or a game or a series or whatever that would pop up for me as like, oh yeah, this is something that I identify with. But I've played them all. I played 2, 3, 4, Lost Legacy. For some reason, Uncharted just is fun. Nathan Drake's a bit of a murder hobo and doesn't seem to be affected by it at all. But I really like the characters. I like him as a character. I like Elena. I like Sully a lot. I like how the characters interact with each other. I think it was 2, if I remember correctly, 2 is the one where you start like crawling in the beginning of the game, like climbing up the plane.
Up the train.
Train.
No, train. You're a train car. You like wake up and you're like, the perspective is you're like, oh, you're sitting in a train seat, and then it kind of shifts, and it's like, oh no, this train is hanging over a cliff,
Yep.
and you're strapped. You gotta climb up out of this thing. It starts with quite a, is it in media re setting
In media
kind of
res,
thing?
yeah.
In media res.
What
Yeah.
it's only comparable to me, and this is I don't know if it's either the craziest comparison or one that is absolutely sensical. It compares to Mass Effect 2's beginning. That sticks with me in terms of like you just start with like shit is happening.
Yep. Just boom, we're in it.
Yep.
And we're going.
Yeah. So Uncharted 2 is just it sticks with me. I want to play that one again. The rest of them, the rest of the series was pretty good, but this one stands out as like far and away the my favorite.
Yeah. I think I would agree. I would think 2 is probably still the high point of the series. I think for the reason you're saying, the writing is really good, but I think that the pacing of it is incredibly well done compared to the other ones. The other ones have where I would say 3 especially, but 4 even, a bit, felt a little bloated at times. 2 is not bloated. It is a trimmed down, just like,
yeah,
we'll let you breathe for just a few minutes here, and now we're kicking the action back up again, and it's just this roller coaster ride to the end. They're not trying to push you for we need more hours of this game. It's like, no, the game is as long as it needs to be to tell this story, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah, 2 blew me away. But yeah, it's in the bottom half. Did not make the cut up to the top, but it's the only Uncharted game that was that I put on this list. So
yeah, me too.
My 21 is Monster Hunter World. This was the first Monster Hunter game that I dove into, out of urging from my friends who wanted a third person to play with them. They bought this game for me.
That's right. I remember that.
It was like, oh, I'm not going to get it. And they're like, what if we just like buy it for you? Will you play with us if we buy it? And they did. And then I played for like 300 hours with them, staying up way too late most nights, hunting monsters, learning just what I guess I had been missing out on in this game series, because it's right up my alley. Go fight big monsters, get parts, make better things to fight bigger monsters. It's very simple from the loop standpoint, but it's incredibly satisfying. The combat is a ton of fun. Figuring out which weapon I wanted to use will always stick with me. Because I didn't know what weapons to choose, so I just was trying out tons of them, and then settled on insect glaive, one of the most complicated ones, of course. But I could fly around in the air, which was awesome. I was like, just flip around everywhere. And then just learning to master that over and over and over and over, fighting different monsters, and then they would have updates and patches, and they'd introduce new monsters. Devil Joe being introduced, and Beetlejuice, whatever they want to call them now. Just when these new monsters would come in, it would just be friends would hop on. We're like, okay, let's do it, and we get wrecked, and we like learn the fight. God, that was a ton of fun. And maybe it's because of Wilds coming up in a few weeks, but it just reminded of how much I really enjoyed World and just being introduced, like you with Fire Emblem introducing you to that whole tactics thing. I had not been introduced to this type of game. Like, there really hasn't been anything like Monster Hunter. There've been a few little spin-offs I never touched, but this was just like an introduction into this genre, into this franchise, and I just fell in love. And yeah, I can't really take that back, and it lands in my favorites. 21, so it's in the top 25 at the high end here of the games I've played, but this one, it sticks with me. Put a lot of time into it, and even then, I have it on. Did I get it? Yeah, I did eventually get it on PC to play it there, and I've played some more. Started it fresh again on a PC, and didn't get as far as my PlayStation save, but it was fun to start again and learn and get into Iceborne, I started doing that. Man, it was such a good game.
You're like talking yourself in. I mean, you're already doing it, but like the 28th is when Wilds comes out. Oh, are you playing this
Yeah.
weekend? Are you doing the thing?
I briefly play. I don't want to play.
Okay.
But I wanted to see what it looks like on the PS5 and what it looks like on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I played on both. I'm probably just going to do the PS5 still. My PC runs it better in a lot of ways, but I just want to play it on the big TV.
Yeah, sure.
Really, it's kind of what is. It has crossplay as well, so I could play with anybody, no matter what platform they're on. So, I think I'll stick with the PS5 though.
And is your big TV is an OLED?
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
It looks OLED, HDR. It looks incredible.
Hell yeah. Yep, that's the right choice.
It's not like monitors are slouches. They're just not OLEDs.
Yeah.
They're high refresh, but like my TV is 120 hertz, or
yeah.
I don't even know if OLEDs have hertz like that. But either way, it's very nice.
Oh, they do, because our Steam Decks do. Yeah, our OLEDs.
Yeah, they're right. You're right. But it's 120 4K OLED beauty thing. It's so bright. I love it.
Oh man, my wife came out to the booth today when I was getting this list all ready, and she was like, "Why? That is an insane monitor." I was like, "Thank you, appreciate that." This huge widescreen curved monitor, it's beautiful.
You're like, yes, it's very nice.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm
very cool.
I am hyping myself up for Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, man.
World, definitely one of my favorites.
Very cool.
Happy to see that one above the 25 and above line.
Well, number 21 for me, I went back and forth between which one, because I think this is representative of all of them. But I ultimately went with Super Smash Brothers Ultimate because it's my favorite to play. But honestly, I for a while on this list, it was just Super Smash Brothers, the one that we played on the 64 in high school. Every weekend we'd get together and just beat the fuck out of each other with those, the small roster of characters. What was it, 12 or something like that?
Something like that.
This is like the ultimate party game for me. It is so much fun to come together and, have that, almost like the original multiverse as well. Or bringing all these characters from all these different worlds together and just seeing who can beat each other up, like who can win. You got that schoolyard discussion, like, oh, Mario can beat Sonic. No, Sonic can kick Mario's ass. Well, now we can find out. And Ultimate is just the best version of this. There's so many characters, and every time people come over to our house, we end up, we load up Mario Kart first of all, and then we end up moving over to Smash Brothers Ultimate, and just having just the shit talking. Like my co-chair was at my house. We were watching Wicked, and then her husband was with her, and we ended up playing Ultimate eventually. And I was Zero Suit Samus, who was my main, and he was playing Mario. And I was like, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of Mario, and he beat me. And I was like, it still can't let it go right now. I have to play you again so that I can win. I'm very competitive, but it's just so much fun. So much fun to get in there, and it's so accessible. It's not a hard game to play or a concept to get. The platform fighter, where it's taken that idea of a fighting game, but like gamified the game, where you got to kick them off and get them a high percentage so they're easier to knock off the platform.
Yeah.
And it's a
genius design.
Oh, it's
genius fighting game design.
So well designed. And
I had to look it up. It's Sakurai all the way back then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's been there.
He was the director of it, and Iwata was a producer on it.
Well, that's cool.
So it was all HAL Labs before they had been purchased by Nintendo, I think.
I didn't realize HAL Labs had been purchased by Nintendo. Interesting.
Maybe they had never. Did they ever get purchased?
I always thought they were like a second party kind of thing, but I could be wrong.
Oh no, Nintendo owned 50% of them eventually.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But still, I'm just like, man, Sakurai. Even back then, you had a pretty incredible vision. He was the one who pitched it. Pitched it to Nintendo. He wanted to make a fighting game, a 4-player fighting game, and he presented it it wasn't using Nintendo characters. It was using, because of course they didn't think they could use Nintendo characters. I wonder, after the pitch was to actually ask if he could mix the different Nintendo franchises to make.
Yeah, I wonder whose idea that was, because God. What a genius
That
idea.
was based on this. That was Sakurai
Oh, wow.
made the pitch after Nintendo was interested in a 4-player fighting game that Hal pitched. He's like, what if it used the famous Nintendo characters?
And
What?
what if we made 1 million amiibo out of them?
Yeah, I cannot believe how much that spawned moving forward, and how much HAL Lab has like influenced like modern Nintendo. It's
Well,
insane.
it's such a cornerstone of every Nintendo console. You have to have a Smash Brothers.
Now you do exactly.
And this one's incredible, and the idea of bringing in so many third parties, like they got Sephiroth, they got Cloud, they got Joker,
Yeah,
um, Kazuya, like it's insane. I wish to God they had Tifa, but just give me a platform fighter that's imagine Smash Brothers with just Final Fantasy characters.
yeah,
Oh
they
my God.
made that in the PlayStation. It was not great.
No, I mean like imagine if it was good, is what I'm saying.
There you go. Was that Air Guys?
Hmm?
Was that the game? Was it Air Guys? Was the PS1 game?
I don't know the title of it, but I've heard it's terrible.
There's Air Guys. Yeah, Air Guys was like a 3D fighting-ish game. Back on the PS1, and then there's the Cydia as well. It's like
Oh, this city is what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
is a more of a brawler, not like your traditional fighter. But Air Guys, if you ever look that thing up, yeah,
I'm gonna go to YouTube later for that one.
that was like '98. That thing that we could have played in high school, but none of us actually did.
Right. It was a Metal Gear Solid and a Final Fantasy VII machine. That's all I ever saw
Pretty
playing
much.
on that thing. I guess Xeno Saga.
Yeah, but Tifa was in that. Cloud, Tifa, Sephiroth, Vincent, Yuffie, and Zack were all playable
In
characters.
Air Guys?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's crazy. Well, I'd love to see it happen again. We'll see one for Switch 2, I'm sure. But God, the memories playing with y'all, and then throughout college, and then into my career, like Smash Brothers has been one of those. Alongside Mario Kart, those two have been there the entire time. So.
Yeah, is it funny? When I went to college, I was like, I will not play Smash with anybody. I only
Really?
played it with you, and I wouldn't play it with them. I didn't
That's
like
funny.
how that group, my friend group there, played. Really.
Oh, okay.
They were a little bit more intense about it. And I was like, no,
Oh,
I'm
nope,
not.
not
I'm
us.
not playing. I'm not going to play this at that level, or that kind of cutthroatness.
No, it's just
I'm
fun.
out.
Supposed to
So
be a fun
I just
time.
actually refuse. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. That sucks.
Nah, it's fine. But that's kind of where I'm like, yeah, I didn't touch much of any Smash until. Ugh. It's been a long time. Maybe it has been. No, I had it on 3DS. I played Smash on 3DS and hurt my hands a lot.
Oh man, that was my airplane game. Like whenever I was on an airplane, that's all I'd play, just to take my mind off of being
God,
in the
it
air.
hurt my hands.
Oh my God, so good. I played more of that than I played the Wii U version. But I was
Yeah.
the build up to those was so exciting. Like
Yeah.
what players or what fighters they were unveiling. I love that build up to Smash where it's like, and then here's someone joins the fight or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's inevitably another Fire Emblem character, but it's fine.
Oh, cool. Those
We
were
did it.
good first 5. Man,
Yeah, it kind of gives a
good
flavor
memories.
for what's coming. Yes, exactly. Like the memories of these games and what they've opened up for us in terms of like, yeah, this game was awesome. So my Monster Hunter Worlds was awesome. Now I'm really into this kind of game. Or Fire Emblem Awakening, just taking a chance on a game and just opening up a new horizon for this hobby that we love.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, do you want to pivot real quick to what you've been playing this week?
I played one thing. I played Diablo 4, and I finished the season journey.
Nice.
Which did a bunch of stuff on Torment 4, so I pushed my character pretty far to the highest difficulty, and did a bunch of stuff there, and now I get my Raven pet. They offered me a Raven pet if I finished it, and I'm like, I want the Raven. So from now on out, I can have a Raven that follows me around and picks up gold and other little trinkets and items.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a Raven. It's cool. That's it. That's what I did. It was a pretty intense build there to get to it. Fun game though. It's just fast. It's power fantasy, and that's exactly what I want on my action RPGs. Yep. So there you go.
Exactly. fit in the bill.
Yeah.
This week I hardly played anything. I was working most nights.
Yeah.
Either writing or we had a Black History Fair table that we made a present. Well, not we. I made a tabling for. So I didn't play much this week. I played one night of Citizen Sleeper, and that game's rad. Rad as fuck.
Yeah.
Now that I'm like really into it, the story's cool. The side characters are cool. The dice mechanic is really interesting. And you just, you have to commit, and then it's like, well, I can't do anything else. So this is what I'm doing with my dice this turn, and then trying to like build up. When you work in the yards or whatever, you build up the yellow wedges or whatever, then you get something and you open up a new narrative branch, but then you've closed off other ones because you didn't, time is the economy, kind of reminds me, and this is not a great comparison because I don't play this game very much, but like reminds me of Persona, where like you kind of have to commit, and you have a limited amount of time, and you kind of just go where you go. I guess with Persona, you could probably like maximize everything if you're smart about it, but I don't know this one. The writing, man, there was a side story I cried, and I was like, I'm only 2 hours into this, and I'm probably never going to see this character again. But it was like pretty well written, so I really enjoyed that. I'm continuing to play Final Fantasy II for the RPG Backlog podcast, and we're in the second to last chunk, and it's just so much more complex than Final Fantasy I. It's really kind of jarring. In a good way. Like they progressed quickly in that series. My God. So I'm enjoying that. Tune into the RPG Backlog to hear more of our thoughts on that, because we go in depth, several hours on that. And then today, my daughter and I played a little bit of Echoes of Wisdom, and I got to the first part where I'm like, fuck this game. Just the echo mechanics has been awesome, but there's this one boss where you have to you kind of have to get the head of the boss to come out. It's like a piranha plant thing, and then there's a red ball on its neck that you have to get.
Oh, right.
But I can't hit directly. I'm pulling the head out, so I can't then go up and swing at the thing as sword fighter. So I got to pull it out and have my echo hit it. But my echo just wants to hit the head, but we can't hit the head, friend. We got to hit the red ball in the neck, but it wouldn't. And then so I had to put it close to the base of the neck. But when you do that, the enemy shoots this purple gas that kills your fucking thing, your echo. So I have to get it just close enough to that part without going too close, and hope he gets one swing at the red ball before he gets killed. And it took like half an hour. And I'm like, there must be an easier way to do this.
That's my daughter.
I don't know what it is.
I remember she was having problems with it, and then figured it out and was like, oh, it was easy.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was, my daughter and I were just like, Jesus. And it was so funny today because we were playing, before, in the dungeon before we got there. And she was at a puzzle she couldn't figure out. And she's like, can you help me? I'm like, yeah. And as soon as I took the controller over and she wasn't having to deal with the mechanics of using the controller, she saw that solution instantly. She's like, oh, do this, blah, 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 blah. And I did it. I was like, oh my God, how did you see that? She's like, I just wasn't playing, so I could see it better. I was like, well, let's just keep doing this. So I'm playing and she's telling me what to do, and we're having a great time. We're really, really having a great time with Echoes of Wisdom, except for that motherfucking mini boss. So, and I know my former co-president is probably listening at this point, trying to figure out which one I'm talking about. It's in the Pharaon Temple before you get to Goma. It's the piranha plant thing with the neck. It's fucking annoying. I'm sure you beat it easier than I did. So anyway, yeah, enjoying Echoes of Wisdom. My daughter was very excited to come play it after she talked to your daughter today. So yeah, all good. That's it.
Great.
I've probably played video games for a total of 2 hours this week.
All right then. Yeah, I pretty much only played Diablo some of the nights. Other nights was pretty tired, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
a lot going on.
Yep.
But cool.
All right, friends. Well, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you like it, please rate it on your podcast service of choice. It helps. Share on social media. Tell your friends about it. And we will be back next week to tell you our 16 through 20 favorite games of all time, and also to talk about, I suppose, that rumored state of play from Sony that's coming.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. Do you believe it?
We'll see. Let's say I'm like 50-50.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Right.
That's about right.
Well, sounds good. All right, folks. We'll see you next week.
Later, everyone.